The excitement that I get by going to a Flyers game and by looking for merchandise that's associated with the team, other than my family, I'd say that's the most important thing that I have in my life. My name is Bill Schoeninger, and I'd like to welcome you to my Flyers fan cave. Welcome. Flyers handkerchiefs, hair, toothbrush, soap on a rope, belt buckles, a calculator. This is a very well-worn book called The Top 100 Hockey Players. I used to read this book to my son, and as he got older, he said, "Well, Dad, why don't we try to get autographs from each of the guys that are in the top 100? Everyone from Marcel Dion, Ted Lindsay, Guy Lafleur, Bobby Clark, of course, Mario Lemieux, Gordie Howe, Sid Abel, every Flyer coach as well as Flyer player that won the Stanley Cup." So he starts working on the tooth, and he said, "Why don't we put a Flyer symbol on your tooth?" I went, "Really?" What you see here is a stick that was autographed by the winners of the World Cup of Hockey. This is actually Fred Flintstone, but that's a Jeremy Roenick autograph. We have everything from a Bobby Clark peanut butter jar, which was extremely hard to find. This is a casting of Dave Schultz's fists. The Flyers for a long time had holiday pucks. Every time they came out with a new puck, we would make sure that we would grab one. Another thing that I collect, as you can see, are Flyers glasses and mugs. As I started to collect things, it almost made me feel like I can go back to the memories in here and relive every one of those games, every one of those moments. But probably the most important thing to me is the ticket that stands in the middle for November 19th, 1967, which is the first Flyers game that I have ever went to. I've been to over 1,000 games since, but that's the game that hooked me. The violence, the brutality of people body checking one another in a game, there was just something that drew me to it. We decided to put on this wall all of our personal family favorites. We meet together and decide, okay, is it about time to take Mike Richards off the wall? My daughter is a very big Brian Boucher fan. She definitely doesn't want to allow him to go. We do this as a family thing. When we think about the Philadelphia Flyers, it's not I go to the games or I go with my friends. It's family time. When we made a run to the Stanley Cup Finals against the Blackhawks in 2010, I talked to my daughter and my son, who I go to the games with, and I said to Kirsty and Billy, "Do you think we should bring the cup to the game?" When we got to the finals against the Blackhawks, they said, "Yeah, you gotta bring it." And boy, did it grab a lot of attention. We were all at Game 6 against the Blackhawks, wishing and praying for the best. And unfortunately, that didn't happen in 2010, but we came awful close. But I will admit to you, and if you ask my wife, she'll tell you the story. If we win the Stanley Cup, I told her I won't be home for about 3 days. All I'm going to do is celebrate with all my fellow Flyers fans. It would have to be one of the highlights of my life.